The rapporteur for 4 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair, dear Commissioner, dear colleagues. First of all, I would like to thank all the shadow rapporteurs, the great civil society organizations and everyone else who has contributed to making this report what it is. A great starting point for making the right changes to European cohesion policies in order to make it more inclusive for marginalized communities. Or, as Commissioner Crețu put it last week, to make the inclusion of marginalized communities one of the priorities for EU cohesion policy. This report is made for people who very often don't have a lobby in this Parliament and in EU institutions. It is made for people who are very often overlooked and overheard when it comes to distribution of EU funds. And in the preparation of this report, I have seen examples of where this is still happening today in the European Union. In my hometown in Gelsenkirchen, I visited a school where I met 2 girls, 2 sisters, Denisa and Michaela, 10 and 12 years old, who had recently moved from Romania to Gelsenkirchen. I met them in their class. They were curious, they wanted to learn, and they were really trying to get integrated into the school in Gelsenkirchen. But the question that came up in my head was, will Denisa and Michaela have the same chances and opportunities that I had when I was growing up in Gelsenkirchen? Will they have the same access to resources like I had them? Now, when we look at the situation of Denisa and Michaela, there are challenges that they are facing, because very often they are being discriminated against or they are facing structural exclusion. This report can give the tools to cities such as Gelsenkirchen to create an integrated approach in order to give a chance to children like this. Be it in education, be it with regards to housing, employment or health. We need to look at different fields of society in order to give a chance to people from marginalized communities. And at the same time, we have to bring all the stakeholders together, be they from the local level, from civil society, or the people affected themselves, in order to create the best programs and to really make sustainable investments. And we need to give support for them to have a strong voice in the whole process, not only in the preparation, but also in the monitoring and evaluation of the programs. And secondly, we simply cannot afford to live in segregated societies, because in the long run, inequality and exclusion is much, much more expensive for us than inclusion and integration. This is why we need to make sure that EU funds actually reach the people that need them the most. This report will give a very clear signal to both the Commission as well as the Member States to do exactly that. Be it community-led local development or a strong implementation of the partnership principle, be it monitoring or evaluation mechanisms that need to be improved, we have these tools and we need to implement them in order to make EU funds more inclusive. And lastly, alongside with the set of good measures and proposals that are in this report, we also need to very clearly speak about the problems. Let us not shy away from clearly mentioning the obstacles that we are still facing to have inclusive societies in the European Union. Be it corruption or fraud, be it the lack of political will or anti-Gypsyism, we need to name these barriers in order to create a good implementation and to overcome these problems. Human rights are the basis of the European Union. Let's mainstream human rights in all policy fields in this Parliament and make them the basis of our work also with regards to EU structural funds. Because in the end, this is going to create societies where everybody has a chance, and it's going to create societies where everybody can live equally. I want to thank again everyone who has contributed to this report, and I hope that it will find your support tomorrow in the vote. Thank you very much.
Thanks. And now there are 6 people who have asked catch the eye, and I will give all of you. And the first one will be Mr. Sogor.
Thank you, Chair. Despite the first steps of progress achieved through the EU framework for national Roma integration, the wide gaps in our